All right, what's going on, all of my fellow avoidant discardees, the emotional executionees? Hey, if you're just joining my content, welcome to the content. Most likely you've been dealing with some heartache, death and destruction of the ego. You're feeling like absolute crap, like death, right? A serious pain, a serious loss. You might be grieving currently, or you're post-grieving, whatever stage you're in. Welcome to the content. You're in good hands here, where we've got the dukes up, but the hands are open to receive information and love, right? Because if you're here, most likely you are one pouring your cup of love that runneth full into closed hands. And you're trying to find ways maybe to take that unassigned love and bring it back to the self, into abundance, right? Self-love, that abundance and that unconditional love towards what it is you want to do in your life, all right? Because if you're following my content, we're here not just to empathize with the fact that you've just gone through some serious shit. You might be confused. You might not be understanding everything that's going on. You're seeking answers that you may not ever get directly from the person who discarded you. And so your mind must be racing and creating and conjuring up all kinds of possible stories about what actually happened. What did I do wrong? Why am I inherently flawed? Why does nobody love me? Am I even lovable? Are you worthy? Can I be accepted by the group? Can I be loved? These are some of the biggest fears, unconscious fears that we have. And it brings us here today to ask these questions to prove to ourselves that that is not the case. These limiting beliefs that we have that happened when the avoidant discarded you, it basically reinforced these limiting beliefs that got us involved with that person to begin with, okay? Usually we have avoidant tendencies ourselves due to shame, fearing rejection, fearing abandonment, unconsciously fearing intimacy, for example, which is why we choose emotionally unavailable people in many regards to begin with, like the avoidant. Okay, and so I'm here to talk just a little bit about what we can do as a life coach, a transformational life coach myself. We still need to coach ourselves and have a framework and tools that we can use to challenge our limiting beliefs in this profound and powerful moment, this opportunity to shed light on the things that are keeping you actually from, forget the relationship. It's not about keeping you from the relationship. You're going to have the relationship that you want to have. You're going to have a higher love, as Steve Winwood and Lily Winwood sing about. Bring me a higher love, right? I can't sing, but you get the point. And so you will get that higher love, but to do that, you have to allow that pain, which is those wounds that need to be brought to the surface about your shame. They're telling you, the discard tells you, you are not worthy, you are not valid, you're not lovable. Is that actually true? Ask yourself, what stories are you telling yourself about why this person discarded you? Write that down. And then I want you to write down, are these stories fundamentally true? And I want you to write down all of the facts, okay? Fact check yourself. Can you prove with cold, hard facts that you're not being good enough is, that you not being good enough is the issue, the real issue of the discard, rather than the fact that you were showing up most likely in really great ways. So you're capable of showing up in really great ways. You were being genuine, open, and honest and sincere. You were giving love and expecting a reciprocation of that, which means you're capable of love, which is a really great thing, because right now the frequency that people are living in, people are not capable of accepting it. They want to give what they consider love, but they're not even loving themselves because they're living in shame. You're not really loving yourself. This is a golden opportunity to ask yourself about your relationship to yourself. Number one, that's your abundance. All right? Were you out of that person's league? If you were operating from those standards and you can hang your hat on that, then Were you not out of this person's league? Because I knew that to begin with, and I was willing to come down and ask that person to meet me somewhere, and then we could blossom and grow together. That was my overall goal. And this is where we have to understand where we can't fight other people's battles. If a person is willing to meet you somewhere, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, I'm going to take a step forward, you take a step forward. Let's hold hands and let's just not even say anything. Let's just look at each other and maybe smile and connect without words. Let's meet halfway here. And if a person is not willing to do that and they want you to come down notches and notches and notches, check this out. This is a pattern of ours, right? Are we willing to lower our vibration, man? Because that's what this person was most likely trying to do to you. All right. And so you're out of their league. Now I have to give up my higher self and all of my goals, like to put them on hold, to be near you and to make sure that I can help you regulate your nervous system. And the minute you display your independence, you are the problem. I already have this going on in my life. I have this thing. I have this thing. The last thing I need is somebody creating more issues in my life. And by that, I mean you set boundaries and you're asking this person to meet you halfway and to start reciprocating more. And that becomes a problem. Is that really a you problem? Does that make you inherently flawed? That you're asking for something that you absolutely 100% deserve. You deserve it. You deserve it. All right? I know the power of that phrase, you deserve it, because I spent my life unconsciously thinking I didn't deserve shit. Even though I'm a highly accomplished person in many ways, I've had my own flaws. I've talked about alcohol consumption, avoidance through alcohol consumption. That was a big thing in my world. I love talking about it now. It's something that I'm very open and honest about. I'm out there in the fitness and health world. I talk about these things, okay? The second thing I would do is I would ask yourself if you're able to trust this person ever again, because they betrayed you. And if you've been discarded and there's a time period between the discard and maybe where the no contact comes to an end and that person may reach out to you, they owe you transparency and honesty about everything they've been up to from the point of the discard until the point when you have a conversation. And before you can talk about your feelings and emotions, they must be willing to come clean about everything that they were hiding from you. And that includes triangulations of other relationships. And they're probably not going to tell you the truth. You may never get the truth from them. And that's just something, that's the reality of it all. I trust your discernment that if a person gives you a lot of information and divulges things and is transparent, you'll be able to determine whether they're telling you the truth. And once they tell all of it, you can make the determination whether or not you can ever talk to them again and trust them enough to be able to set boundaries, to share your feelings and how you're feeling with that person without the fear of them just up and leaving you and abandoning you again. And so, can you ever trust them again? Could either of you handle the transparency? Because you're going to be able to handle it. Now, handling it and choosing that person who betrayed you again are two completely different things. You can handle the truth and simultaneously make a decision to kick that shit to the curb and you move forward and on with your life. And when I say it like that, kick that shit to the curb, I mean it with the utmost gratitude and being grateful for the experience, which I've talked about in many of my other videos. But we have to move forward. I go east. The sun rises, the resurrection happens. It is a new day. And when the sun sets, do I go back to that day or do I be in the present? Stay in my gratitude, stay being grateful. All right? If you're in pain right now, you're going to have to transmute that pain, and we can do that in many ways. Go get yourself your 6-pack, your 8-pack. You want me to take my shirt off? Right? We can transmute that energy and bring that unassigned love back to where it belongs, to who it belongs to. And so you get yourself in shape. You're not going to sleep well, probably. probably not eating well, which most Americans, if you're living in America, wherever you're at, most people aren't eating well anyway, so you might as well give yourself a break from inflammation. Your cortisol is probably high, so you're emotionally, hormonally dysregulated. All right, so we want to get ourselves in order, allow ourselves to grieve, but doing it in a healthy way by posing these questions. All right, so with that being said, I hope this was helpful. Hopefully some of it resonated or all of it resonated for you. And if it did, hey, share this content. You don't have to go through an emotional execution or a discard to be consuming this content, because it turns out that this content actually sheds light on things that have a direct impact on how you spend your time, your relationship to time, your relationship with your schedule and the things, your productivity, let's say, in life, the things you either decide to do professionally or not. If you start your own company, for example. Okay, so those are the things that we want to be focusing on, is what we're giving our energy to, protecting our energy with our boundaries, being able to trust those who we decide to share our emotions with, and to be able to set healthy boundaries with, and discovering ourselves and the fact that you are worthy and that the discard had nothing to do with you. And it had everything to do with their shame and you finding your shame or your other unconscious scripts that we've been carrying with us throughout our lives. All right, so again, like, subscribe, share, and peace out.